Okay, so these, for the food part of Philippines, I think these are very interesting purple foods that Ritika has shared. It all looks really weird and very nice.
Some colors you tend to not associate with food, isn't it?
Yeah,
So this purple is one of them.
yeah, correct. So, you know what we'll do today? We will make this ice cream vendor, and we'll also make some of the ice creams which we could probably put like a collage near where the vendor is.
Hmm.
So do some paper craft.
Okay.
That might be fun.
So on a double sheet.
Yeah, we can do double sheet, but we'll do the vendor on one side and do the ice creams partly on
Yeah.
that side and then the others.
Okay.
Okay, so this is fairly simple. I think the more complicated bit in this would be to draw the figure. Everything else should be easily drawn.
Hmm.
So today I want to actually show you how to do something which is a little imperfect deliberately, so that the design or the illustration looks a little quirky. We don't always have to have absolutely precise lettering or precise shapes and make it look too realistic also.
Hmm.
Quirky illustrations can also look really good. So what we do is either with a pencil, we first mark out these shapes and a few of these details like the ice cream or this lettering. And then we draw everything in pen directly. So we won't do too many things with proportion this time. And then even when we come to the human figure, I'll show you how to make the figure with just very few lines. So you can briefly indicate that it's a person and you don't get into the face at all. So that keeps things simple. All right, so what do we have here? We have a box, which probably is a cooler on wheels. And then we have these container lids on top. Then there's this clear acrylic box or glass box in which you have ice cream cones. And I don't know what this is. Looks like a bun pao, but whatever it is.
Yeah.
Funny. Yeah, we'll keep that as well. And he's saying what's special and special order. Okay. So I'll show you how I visualize this.
Hmm.
Oh. Now, because we have this illustration from last time on the right side page, on its back, this is a little warped. So we can do the collage over here.
Yeah.
And this side, 1 minute. Amulya is joining in.
Yeah. Just told her the link is on the.
Correct.
Sorry, I was able to hear you and listen to you, but I could not speak up.
Okay, but you could see also, or you couldn't see?
This was my camera issue, something.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes, let her come in.
Yeah, so you were mentioning about the food. Yeah, it's very how much colorful they have, that purple and green and all those.
How interesting.
Yeah, and I had this dirty ice cream. It's very tasty.
Why is it called dirty ice cream then?
I don't know. I think first I was also surprised, is it like because it's dirty? Because they said there used to be those normal street vendors,
Right.
selling ice cream. And I was reading probably the reason was, the mothers at that time didn't wanted their kids to eat ice cream. So they would say it's dirty ice cream, so that they don't ask for money to buy ice cream. And I think that's why it got the name dirty ice cream.
Maybe that could also be the case. Sometimes though, because if it is an English name or in their case, it would be a Spanish word and the local language has something that sounds exactly like that, that word morphs into a completely different meaning. And then when you give the title, it sounds even weirder. There are some desserts like that that we have. Either something like there's a dessert in Pune which we get in a lot of Irani restaurants called fruit funny. And there's nothing funny about it. It's I don't know why it's called fruit funny, but it could be something like a firni, like fruit firni, which is not actually a firni, neither is this fruit funny, but they can't say what the word is, so it has become funny. And they just call it fruit funny. Okay, chalo, let's move on. Hi, Amulya. Okay, so today we are going to make a little bit of paper crafts we do. So we will use some, if you've got some extra sheets lying around, we'll use those and just do cutouts of some of the ice creams and paste them along with the graphic of the street vendor. So very often when we make these designs, we make them far too realistic. But when we have to make something like a street vendor's street cart, you can make it, actually you can make anything a little less than realistic. So you can have a lot of fun with all these things. So we start off with just making the overall shape and some of the letters. And we can make this more quirky. So it will look contemporary, it'll look fun rather than making it too realistic, which is fine if you are going to make a painting out of it. But this can be more like a caricature out of objects. So we will first, I would have done this directly with a pen, but just to give you all some confidence and not to shake that up a bit, at least give yourself a proportion. So let's say we have the human about this high, and then we have the cart that's about this big. So there is some kind of proportion that you can start with and draw that with it can be wobbly lines also. We have a rectangle, we have a circle, which is the cart wheel, and then we have a part of the cart that is slightly narrower. Then it becomes wide here, and then you have feet and you have handles. Oh, I have gone beyond the cart. I have no room for the person. Oof. So now I'm going to have to redraw this. And for the person, often we think of starting the picture of a human figure from the top. But you need not do really any of that. You can start from here as well. And you don't look at him as a person. I know that sounds really weird. But look at him as just shapes. So very close to this edge, you have another rectangle, which comes about so high, higher than the distance it has from the handle. And then draw a rectangle with a rounded top, which is the shoulders. In this, you have the hands of the person as well. Then you have the neckline of the t-shirt. And on the other side, so the hand can just be made into this shape. You have one line going this way and literally a rectangle shape coming outward. And when I make this in pen, it'll become more apparent. So we're keeping the shapes relatively simple. The leg will come slightly leaning forward and the other one is bent slightly. Shoes are just going to be made like this. Draw the other shoulder from the other side, a neck. And some hair. Then we have these nice lettering styles here. So a few things, if you want, you can remember is the position of the cart and the leg behind the cart and the person's leg, where it has to be. This fellow has come too close. Maybe later on I'll move him to the side. So these proportions can help. And then we have this ice cream special, number 26 written here. All of this is changing now. So once you have this in place, at any point that you feel you need to make some rough lines, you can use the pencil to make it. The spokes on the cart, there are, I think, 4, 4, 6, no, more than that. So you have these 4 on the north, south, east, west axis. Then you have 4 on the axis in between, and then in between that, again, you have more spokes. So I think they are 16, if I'm not mistaken. So we don't have to make it in such detail. You have also a bigger circle in the center and an outline. Circles can be terrible to draw, so you don't bother making it a pure circle or a proper circle anyway. So start with the center, and we are deliberately making the circles odd. Let me get another pen. Actually, I'll use ink. Hopefully my ink is not dried. Oh. That's that. My ink has dried up finally. Oh, maybe I can use my ink pen. Strange things are happening. I had thought once my kids grew up, all my stuff will remain where I leave it. But looks like my kids were never to blame for when my stuff goes missing. I seem to be quite good at it all by myself. Okay, so any of these objects that we want to make look 3D, we can make them simply by adding multiple lines there. So although I know I can make a very precise circle, I don't want to do that because that's a commitment that I cannot keep. But I will make these details like the bolts on the inner circle of the wheel. Then I will make another circle which I'm not even attempting to make perfect. But I'm keeping the line strong. Here's another one. Oh, this has become a very fat line. But it doesn't matter. We will be using color, so we don't have to really worry. Color can then mask a lot of things. Now we have a third circle in the center from where all the spokes are going outward. And there is a certain shape for the spokes. If we try to make these too precise, we will be in a world of pain. So just make them with some kind of curved line. So it just looks decorative and not like the spokes of a bicycle. If you can give it some thickness at the center, that'll help because there is a little bit of a red decoration that we can make over them. All of these also can have a three-dimensional look if you give them a line, an extra line close to any one edge. In this case, the left edge and the bottom. So the bottom ones will become thick from the bottom, and then everything else becomes thick from the left. This should be good enough. Now, right above here, we have a line. In fact, now we can draw the construction of the cart itself. Will give it a lot of character. So we have the base, which runs straight across on the 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock line. And then behind this, you have one line that goes up a little wobbly, which becomes one of the panels on which that ice cream and one part of the word special is written. Let me take it to the other side, but here we want to have that bag of buns. No idea how he has attached it, so I'm just making it like this. And in this, we will make those bun shapes. Start with the bun, which is on the left. And then all these buns are overlapped or overlapping each other. So you just have to draw two lines on the side. And in this one, you could probably draw the side of the bun as well, which is not visible here. And then continue the cart, draw it. Oh, I've gone an overshot. So I'm going to change my design. Yes. On the back. Now I'm ignoring this part right now, this little thing over here. This happens all the time, especially when drawing directly with pen. So this is the top, and above this now we have those various containers. So you have this and you have the lids of containers. In this case, I think there are just 3 lids. Then right behind the buns and also where the buns are attached is another box made from acrylic. Now the human figure, if it works for the illustration, then great. But we can always edit out the human. We really don't need the human to complete this picture. Now for the embellishments. We have a rope-like design that runs across the top, and then we have a wave pattern running along the sides. Now, when we make this design, I generally enjoy making all these very accurately, but sometimes that accurate design can come in the way of all this kind of line work, very casual air. I don't know why it works like that. So don't make it too precise. And here you have another wobbly line of design. In order to be able to draw this 26 properly, sometimes it will help if you write the word in pencil and then go around it, outline it. Okay, then we have these green stripes, a dark green and a light green. And we have the word special. Now, this special is written in a very special lettering. So if you want to, try writing it on a rough sheet first. So in the space that we have from here to here, say, we want to write 7 letters. So we have a baseline, which is somewhere here. And the letters are fairly simple. You just make this angular line, S like this, and add one shape like that. And then everything else is in like a fake Gothic style of lettering. So if you know Gothic, it helps to just use a flat pencil, like a carpenter's pencil, and write it with that. I think I have one, I'll show you. Oh, I found my pen in there. Okay, alluding. So these letters are written with using a flat edge of a pen. So if you, I'll just demonstrate this once. So you know the logic behind it. All the lines that are in a particular direction remain thin, and then all the other lines become fat. This is a nice way to write with a big fat letter without painting over twice. So I'm writing with a flat edged pen. And because of that, all the lines which are pointing towards the northeast or southwest will be very thin, and all the others will be flat because I'm writing this in a 45-degree angle. And then all these parts become the embellishments. So we are not expected to write this as precisely. And also whatever that poor fellow's card has is a fake Gothic only because they look very impressive. So not all shapes are authentic, but just so you know which letters, which parts of the letter are thicker, it just helps to know where this lettering must have come from. So vertical lines and curves are thick in one direction. You will get these diamond shapes for letters like I or even bottoms of N. And then you have these wedges on the edges, which make the letter look a little fancy. These are the grandparents of serifs. And then they also have done something like this, more flourished L. So when we want to do the same shape, especially in pencil or in pen, you will write all the letters angular, and we will only thicken some parts of the letter and then keep the rest small. And then when we come in in paint, you can do this in paint also. Just make the shape first, and then you can paint all the details.
Even the calligraphy pen, Aditi, we can use, isn't it?
Yeah, you can. But we want to write this in red, no?
Ah, okay.
So I could do this in paint by using this nib. That's why I enjoy nibs because they're very versatile.
Hmm.
So if if I were to do it with the nib, I can just use my paint and drop it in this, a little thicker perhaps.
The nib doesn't get spoiled.
Not as much.
So basically you use it and then you wash it and the color is gone. Is it like that?
Yeah, yeah. But this will make it too perfect. And we want it slightly imperfect. This lettering
But
won't.
it's too cute. Yours will always be perfect.
Yeah.
Only we can get the imperfect ones.
Anyway, so point is when you write it in rough, you know how much space you need. And then you can write the letters over here. And no doubt it'll always help if you give yourself boxes to write in. So the S, of course, is very big. So the S bit can be about till here. And then you write P, then space, E, space, C, space. I've already written much smaller. I, space, A, space, and L. So I'm not even covering as much ground. So just draw the singular lines. Don't draw double lines right now. And here we have, what does here say? Special order. Okay, once you're comfortable with this, and actually we should have done this after the first wash. We can start putting in color now. I still haven't made the steel handle here because I'm wondering whether or not I should make the man. I'm not totally dismissing the idea. Okay, I am going to erase most of my lines, especially the guidelines, and keep very little bit of the pencil line letters. But a better strategy is, if you've not written it, first paint the yellow and then write the letters on top after the yellow dries. Okay, so look for any place where we have to leave it white. On the word special, the white highlight is going to be ignored because we can't make it that way. So let's paint the other stuff. Use gamboge for, oh, you can write ice cream on the left in gamboge as well. So let's use gamboge first for this patch. And let it dry. I'm going over the wheel because that same color we can use on the wheel. And also the spokes right through. Because this is a very casual illustration, don't be afraid of allowing your paint to be a little mischievous and go into the neighborhood also a little bit. Now, if you want to, you can try writing ice cream here, but make sure that the letters are small because you want that whole word to fit in. And then we have a yellow patch on this side, on the right, behind the 26. Now, one of the colors over here does require white. We normally never use white, but the green color right behind, right below the yellow of the special, that looks like a mix of some cerulean blue, emerald green, which is again a color we don't use much, and white. So you get a very pale, pasty color, not just a light color, but this is like a tint of another shade altogether. And using a thin brush, we can take the same color and put it in this vine that we have going on top, just on the bottom, like this. A little shabbily would help. I'm trying to tell myself. So keep your lines strong, whatever you're drawing, always. Anything can look convincing if your line's strong. Now, while this is drying, we can move on to drawing the foods. So if you've got some spare paper, or you can tear out a paper from the drawing book, you can use that. And size the food that you want over here. So obviously it has to fit within an A5 sheet. You can fold the A4 in half and automatically you get the size of the area where you want to keep this. Now, all the food also we can draw directly with the pen. And because it is going to be overlapped and overlaid later on, it doesn't matter what order you draw it in. So I can draw one big dirty ice cream over here. I can draw those ube puto cheese things over here, maybe 2 or 3. And then, what is the third thing now? Hello, hello. That is like also like the ice cream. That also can be drawn over here. And because it is so full of color, you can just make the shape of the different things you see in there. They don't even have to make sense. So, okay, let me show you. Suppose I want to draw this. Hello, hello. I can make, choose any of the glasses that you see. They all have more or less the same stuff. So I will draw the mouth of the glass like this. It's not really straight. And all these lines will look like the embellishment on the glass itself. So everything is deliberately crooked. And then you draw the ice cream on top. So all I've not done is make the glass or the ice cream transparent on the other side. And then everything else is just a matter of blocking out space for different colors. So you have so many different textures. You can just draw the various lines and we can color this up in the colors in that chronology. That should do the trick. So what I do not want you to do is this. Don't draw lines like this. Or don't draw lines like that. They don't make sense at all. So if you see yourself breaking a line, you're just hesitating for no reason. I'm going to now over-exaggerate my hello, hello. Let me just try doing that with the left hand. All I'm focusing on is keeping my line very strong. This line would have more character than this line. In this line, you would probably do this and get the shape more or less right. But it does really nothing for your picture. It just shows so much of self-doubt that it's not a compelling illustration. The difference in this is like if you were to see illustrations by children, they make absolutely no sense, but there is such energy in them. So if not accuracy, just bring forth the joy, and that's good enough. That is in fact what we want even with accurate illustrations. And for that matter, you will come across so many pictures which, in their pursuit of making the picture look so accurate and precise, have no John in them. What is the point with all that accuracy? Right? It's all teda, meda, everything. It still works. So when it comes to the food inside, in places where you find there are certain shadows in the ice cream, or like in this white part over here, you don't want to make a very firm line over there. That is okay as a choice, but that you should know exactly where you want to break the line up and for what. So try it in those sections, but don't make it because you're not sure. So in this case, don't even try to think about whether this is mango or strawberry or orange. The fact that they have purple fruit should be an indication that this could be anything that we've never heard of before. So whatever it is, just put it down and we will then color it. Now, when we are making a collage of foods, we don't need to stick to a proportion of the foods. Just because you have made that hello this big doesn't mean that you have to make an ice cream cone smaller or the cupcakes even smaller or any such compulsion. So I'm going to make my ice cream cone really big. This is partly because I want to bring in that little childish romanticism that we had, where you could easily win a kid's affection by just inserting the idea of a mountain of ice cream or something in a story. I remember as a kid, I used to be so entranced by the idea that there can be so much of a good thing. Where is that beautiful place where you can have a mountain of ice cream? So something like that is, I think, is a part of our character. Not everyone, obviously, for everyone, ice cream might not cut it, but there could be something where you just imagine that if this was the stuff of the universe, it would be such a wonderful place. So making this in a larger size also suddenly plays with the perspective. This automatically looks like it's in the foreground. This looks like a little bit in the background. And when we are making a collage of these things, all that can come in to make the picture or page look very interesting. Now, the last one, these should be easy enough. Are these supposed to be cupcakes?
Yeah, like rice cupcakes.
Oh,
And I mean, you eat it sweet, and ऊपर से cheese होगा, so it will be salty. So it's a
wow.
bit.
I like that idea. All these cupcakes we can make individual. So don't make anything overlapping. I'm making one of these also pretty big. None of them look like each other.
So Aditi, the idea is to make a collage and it has to fit on this A5 sheet, is it?
That's one thought. So I could put the ice cream here, then I could put this hello here, and then I could make these cupcakes fall all over the place. Or another thought is that part of the collage can be here, but it can also start from the ice cream cart itself. So you could have maybe one ice cream cone over here floating out, and then it comes into this page. So that becomes like a little narrative within that space to add interest. All of that is because we have several pages where we have made food stuff, which is fairly simple on, I mean, this is it. What food of Jamaica? Food of Jamaica. We have food of Paris. Yes, it's impressive, but it's just food. That's it. So at some point you can change the story or the manner of story a little bit. And again, because it is ice cream and desserts, it's not like really fancy stuff. It is meant to be very casual and just street food and things like that. So it can be treated with that casual air also. Okay, now that we have finished painting, here I can show you something that we can make a little differently. Though the application of colors will remain very casual, let's add a little bit of shadow to certain areas as a ground level layer. So let's take some cobalt blue. I have a whole ton of cerulean on this, but I'm going to add some cobalt to reduce its vibrancy, but you can just use a pure cobalt as well. And start giving a little shadow to certain items. Like in this case, now I'm going to give shadows on the left side. So test that your color is not too dark. It's a little too dark. Yeah, this should be enough to start with. And just put a little blue shadow from the left side and the bottom. You can use that to put some shadows underneath some of these layers as well. The advantage of using blue, of course, is that it's a very subtle color. And sometimes if you feel that you do not want to put too much color, you can just use blue to indicate the 3 dimensions and just leave it like that. Leave everything to the imagination. If you feel adventurous enough, you could try to also write that word champion in just blue. So just in a few places, you would make the shadow. But it's not compulsory, obviously. And then again, you can make a few shadows for those little lines of indentation. But don't make them like stripes. They should just look like indents, so not fully completed lines. You can use this also to add a little bit of texture, like a few lines or sorry, dots in a few places. And finally, the purple thing. Now, I don't know whether for the purple we really need it, but I'm just putting it because everything else has it. So we might get one even tone everywhere. But the purple color could be really dark, so maybe it'll get hidden. You never know. Once you make this, then you can see if this itself is looking very nice. You can make cutouts, and instead of white paper, you could use the wrapper of the place, or a tissue or something which might be colored as the background, and on top of that you can paste it as is, even without full color. Now this is going to be just color by number kind of thing. So our first color, let's just make this, let's do the yellow bits first. Yeah. So use a light gamboge to paint the cheese. Although the color on the illustration, sorry, the reference image is much, much lighter, it won't really matter. Cheese must look like the cartoon cheese. The same yellow can be used for the ice cream on top here. And wait, let me move to the other because my dots have not dried. And in this case, just dab on the color very casually. The colors over here are also going to blend like the stuff that you see in the glass itself. So just wait for a little while for the color to dry, and then you can insert the next color in. And if those color, I'm adding it a little prematurely, but I want you to see that if this color were to bleed into the earlier color, that will add to the effect of that whole tower being made of stuff that is blending into each other. It has some green things also in it. Gosh, what is that green thing? Oh my God, what is this?
So these cupcakes, they will sell in purple color, green color, and yellow color.
Wow, okay. That is super cool. Seems to be something slightly dark here. And once that purple comes in, then everything will make sense. Okay, this is dried.
So, Aditi, can you give me a suggestion on how I can fill this page,
Uh-huh.
the one with the vendor,
Okay.
with some of the food, because the colors. So I have one book just for people, and
Oh,
I
okay.
decided to do the street vendor also in that book.
Okay.
And I have this page with just, some graphic people out
Right.
of perspective. Yeah.
Right.
So, and these colors are also similar.
Yeah.
So would you still, suggest a collage on this page, or?
Of course, you could still
Yeah.
have the collage in that place. And in fact, what you could also do is the collage needn't be a static collage. It can also have some dynamic element to it. So you could do something like, oh, sorry, let me just spotlight and show everyone. So you could easily have arms cut up in paper, which are folding. So you have something like this, which can open up, not open up like that. It's like an accordion that opens
Yeah.
up this way, so that you can move your cupcake a little to the side. You could move your ice cream slightly lower or something like that. So we can figure that kind of movement. Or else if you want to, you can also attach them like this, one on top of the other with a fold. And only a small strip so that it looks like those things are covering your pillow, but you can always open that up and see this inside. I personally really enjoy it when there are books with these tactile fun things. It's always unexpected. Plus, we are working with illustration. So a little element of fun is almost expected or begged for. So you might as well do a lot of it. So these things I feel bring out the humanness of the picture as opposed to the other books that you might have in your library, which may not have any of this because they are usually mass printed. So you won't have, not many of them will end up having these subtle things. And so, how is it that our humanness is celebrated? By doing something very complicated so that stuff that a computer cannot do or becomes very expensive for a printer to do it, and therefore they won't do much of it, you can have that in your book. And it also keeps it very unique. Each of us could do the exact same thing, but all our books will look different just because of how the level of complexity will be such that not everyone will be able to arrive at this exact same output. So when you have a simple task, like let's fold a paper, everyone can fold a paper. As long as you're given an A4 sheet, when you fold a paper, it will be half A4 one way or half A4 another way. But then when I say, okay, you have to not just fold a paper, then you have to compose these things, then you have to use your taste and your preferences. That is where it starts becoming very fun. Now for the purple cupcakes, I have made this purple using ultramarine blue and crimson. And first I have painted the tops. And then I'm painting the bottoms in a lighter purple color. So it's the same shade, but I'm using a little watery consistency so that I can just make a nice easy wash on the bottom. If you feel that this is too light, after it dries, you can go back into it and make a second wash. This combination of purple and yellow actually is so cute. Both of these are complementary colors, so they tend to go really well with each other. You have yellow on one end of the color spectrum, and you have blue and red on the other end. So when you mix blue and red, you get purple on exactly the opposite side of yellow. So they make for very interesting combinations, very attractive. And of course, at this stage, if you want, you can, not right now, wait, sorry, I forgot. We have to also make this ice cream cone. So the ice cream cone I'm making using gamboge and burnt sienna. Our shadow is where, I don't even know where the shadow is now. So just plain washes. We have already done all the shadowing. So you can just generously put the color through. And in some places, it will help if you don't paint it. So leave a few sections unpainted, partly for that casual feel and partly for the effect of 3D, even with that casual coloring. So anytime you do a single layer of paint, your paintings will look rather dull. So whenever possible, try to add a secondary shade also. It does dry much lighter, but because it goes on dark and it goes on over a layer, it adds vibrancy to the paint. So see what is happening to the purple over here. You can make this purple a little more vibrant by adding a secondary layer, but not to the whole space, just perhaps in this section, a little on the left. And this purple has got more crimson. And for the last one, we will make a rather pale purple, which you will apply in like these short strokes, at least on the top, so that you automatically leave a little section looking like it is a highlight. Okay, I'm just gonna go get some water for myself. I'll leave you with this for a couple of minutes. Take your time finishing. We won't rush. Okay, done? Okay, so while this dries, we can paint all of this now. Let's take the cerulean blue and paint it around the word ice cream on the ice cream cart. I'm going to show you how to do this very quickly, like how sign painters paint it. So you don't go around each letter. You just make, because the rest of it is in black, just make a color that goes straight down one side, patch of blue, and then another patch that goes straight down the other. Of course, because this is in oil colors, when sign painters use it, that color remains opaque. But in our case, we can move a little faster and then just paint around the block. So if you paint this the while the paint is slightly wet, you can do it much better. And then the second layer, of course, will obviously make it much more uniform. Paint it in the same way. Now we'll paint the same blue over here behind the number 26. Maybe this is the official number of the cart or something. And then a deep green below this. I think this can be a sap green also. Once the green is drawn, I have an extra stripe over here, which I'm waiting to see what to paint because my letters came in an odd place. So I'm just letting that be. And I will paint the red section behind the wheel. I'm using a scarlet for this. So here, just keep an eye on where the box stops because this red part is only on the box that is seen behind the wheel. So only in the top, between the top, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 spokes, you will see that. If you'll end up making it right inside the spokes, that means in the hollow of that, the whole thing, even the bottom here, has something behind it. That can be a little misleading. So anytime this happens or you're in danger of this thing happening, in the beginning, this happens quite frequently, especially if you are in a hurry or if you are talking to somebody and you're doing it mindlessly, which of course, when traveling, we are going to be a little mindless. So don't be too harsh on yourself. So one trick that I found is either take a pencil and before painting, mark the areas where you have to paint, especially if it's very confusing. Or secondly, just before you touch the brush to paper, look at what is happening, what you're trying to paint, and ask yourself, okay, is this the right thing to do? And make that the system with which you work. I think there's a little yellow on the side also. I've not drawn it. Not painted it rather. Oh, I got rid of this circle. This was supposed to be white. Oops, never mind. There was a circle behind or underneath this bow, which is supposed to be white. It's gone now. Now, the acrylic box, which has those tiny cones, I don't know whether I want to draw it or not. It would be good to draw it, but they should look good. That's most important. So draw them in rough and see whether they're looking nice. And maybe instead of keeping them horizontal, you can try keeping them vertical also. So you have these. And maybe they might work. Or maybe they won't. Or you could also try sideways. So maybe sideways. Let's see. At any rate, what you should do is continue that same line quality that we have. A very confident line. So even if all your cones look like they are of different sizes, let that be so. All right, now again, we can write those letters special S. E, C, I, A, L. Maybe I can make a different colored circle that says special order. Now I'm again over here. I'm not making it too precise if I can help it. So I'm going to make slightly like very casual lines to paint it. This reminds me of the time when in one geography test in the 10th standard internal exam, I had got a 0 on maps in a map test because the teacher, she was a very sweet teacher, she was trying to teach me a lesson, obviously, because it was a job. But I was so distraught, I had got everything right. And she said, your handwriting is very beautiful, but totally illegible to the person who's going to be examining your paper. So the way I had written, it was a 10-mark paper, and all we had to do was match the geographic location to the names given. And this is how I wrote from A to J. Because I just felt that I'm writing only 10 things over here. They should be beautiful. And this was something like my my 10th standard lettering was somewhat like this. And it was so ornate that my teacher said, I feel very sorry about doing this to you, but please, you need to improve your handwriting. Most ironic. So I'm trying really hard to make everything the wrong, like what we are not supposed to do in calligraphy. There can be disadvantages also. The other one should be very simple. Though I managed to not keep a white background over there, I can change the design just slightly. Now this is just because I made a mistake. I can make a blue colored circle around that. Because the circle is there to draw special attention to the special order. Okay, let's try drawing that man. And I'm going to change certain things about it. So first we'll start with the, are you all with me or do you want me to wait? Because I'd rather wait and then you can draw the man along with me rather than me carrying on while you're looking down. Shall we continue? Or you want a minute or so? Okay.
More or less done.
All right. So let's draw the handle. And the hand of the man will be like this. Whenever you're holding an object, this is the object that he's holding, his hand will go like this, like that, and this way. So it's almost like a rhombus shape that the fingers make. And then you have the thumb on the other side, and then this comes up in to the wrist. Eventually, we will be learning how to make fingers. So this is how the fingers would come in, and then they become knuckles. So what we see is just the front, that is this part from here to here, which is fairly, sorry, here to here, which is fairly straight. Then we hold an object, you see this part, which is also like a straight rectangle. And then you see the thumb coming from one side. So we don't necessarily need to draw all those features, but you can draw just that rhombus or diamond shape going into a wrist and then one line like that coming out as the thumb. No other details need be made. Then draw the arm, slightly bigger wrist would do. And then draw his sleeve. Now look at where the sleeve comes in relation to the paws. And then also the front of the body. The sleeve line turns in. You have armhole, and then you have the line going up. So is his collar coming near, just near this box? Yes, so. Not this line. So you just look at how the lines emerge, and you should be able to make this. The face is tilted slightly, and it's also looking sideways. So we can make it almost like a cube. Maybe a little plumper. And I enjoy making these bands. So I will make a wobbly line coming down, a fold, and the same wobbly line. You have one fold going there, then you have a fold going here, and then you have a straightish line. Pants usually always sit like that on the foot, especially loose pants. There's our foot. Now, since we were trying to make this with a very casual line, I don't know how this casual line is not looking casual at all in my picture. I hate that. But you should be able to make this without the use of pencil in the future. That's it. Now we can ink all of this. Now in inking this also, if you feel you want to make the face as rectangular as we've made it, that's perfectly okay. And you can just make a silhouette of his head, and that's fine. Leave it at that. So in a lot of urban sketching, you will notice that though there might be a lot of people made, they do not really focus on making the people look like real portraiture. So you can easily focus on other things like these, like the stuff that they're wearing, or maybe stuff that they're holding, or like this, the pocket on his pants. And if making all these folds and all in the pants is too daunting, then just make regular straight pants also, that's fine. Shoes and feet are another thing that need very subtle lines. So if you want to avoid that, don't make any details. At some point, we will be making things like shoes, so you will be in a better position. I have spent countless hours in trying to draw feet, shoes. Now here's another option. Because the cart is the hero, we don't need to paint this guy. I wouldn't. I would like to keep the two separate so that they just don't just become one stack of things. So let's complete the cart now with all the other tiny embellishments, like the foot over here or the legs. You can make these using any dark color you have, or a gamboge. No, sorry, what am I saying? A burnt umber and black or blue. And I would also like to make this design in reverse. It's so sweet that even on the leg, which is really taking such a beating, they have put a little bit of decoration.
Yeah.
It's so cute and subtle. And then using some more of this combination of cobalt blue and gray, but separately, make a few lines into this steel. So the lids can get a little bit of shine. I don't feel like painting the food also. Let it be. But I will paint this axle on the cart and the wheel of the cart. That can be any dark color again. It can be black, brown, blue, or it can be a combination of all of them or one or two colors. The sections where the color on uh, where the wood is exposed on the wheel, that also can be made by just putting some subtle brush strokes. This is not subtle at all. Just by brushing. Now, this is an optional part as well. You don't need to do this unless you feel that is going to look good. The same color you can run along some of the joints to make them look like they're worn. And one more thing we can do is a very light shadow color that can be put behind the spokes. I love adding shadows. It'll give some depth. Some shadows here as well. And on the spokes as well. Now, if you have a brown paper bag or some spare brown paper, I'll advise you to make the collage against a non-white background. Don't use white paper. I often have these extra sheets of brown paper just lying around on which I will make my announcements for Instagram, stuff like that. So we can use this as a nice background. The craft paper is just something else. I really enjoy it. And before you cut anything, just see if that thing can add more interest to your picture. So I'm not cutting this flap yet. Maybe I can add the ice cream here on the flap, and this ice cream can come here, and all these can come inside. So don't be in a hurry to cut away something that you cannot put back easily. One thing about brown paper is that it is now all over the world being used as a sign of commerce, more even than I think plastic. A brown paper bag has somehow become the symbol of some kind of shopping done or something purchased, but the modest kinds, not the kinds which you would buy in fancy places. So as now this is purely from a design perspective. And I do this extra only because I guess, early part of my life was working as a graphic designer. So a lot of these symbolisms make sense to the design angle. So I can do something like this. I can put the ice cream here, and then I can put all the
If they come, then four of us.
cupcakes on the flap. And I again also prefer to keep a gap in between the edge of my illustration and the outline of the sticker. It somehow makes it look like a sticker also, gives it some girth, I think. Not to forget, we still have to write the names of these desserts. So that can also come in little bits and pieces of paper, either the whole name or parts of the name. So we can do something like this, maybe add a few more desserts on the inside and have this on the flap. And maybe I can try it the other way around as well. I can have this and keep the frayed ends at the bottom. And have my picture open up like this. So before pasting and cutting, always think of all the possibilities. And once we have done this, then we can use the extra space over here to write the names of the various desserts. I am pasting my ice cream at the bottom. So aligning it to the base of the bottom of the page itself. Whoops. Oh, this always happens. Extra Fevicol. Do any of you do that craft journaling? That's such a rage nowadays. I keep seeing these videos of all sorts of cutouts and stickers and everything.
Yes.
Must
I
be
think-
really fun.
But the thing with that is these stickers are readily available, right? There's no fun in,
True.
just getting it off the shelf and assembling.
I
This is
know.
more fun, I feel.
I know
Make your own
exactly.
stickers, yeah.
So that's the reason why I enjoy doing this. But I admire the motivation of the crafters who uh make those journal pages. Because what I think sometimes happens is because we can make all these illustrations, we don't pay attention to the effects that can be created. And they know the effects really well. They will do all sorts of like sponging and colors and whatnot. So that I find quite interesting to learn. Like even pasting and compositions, they do quite a lot, no?
Yeah.
All right. So here we have it. So if we want to write a lot, all the writing does not have to be in like this form that I'm going to write. This is the there, no problem. But here now suddenly this becomes so exciting to see. And what? Yeah, so here now we can write the names. We can paint them directly. This is what ube puto cheese or purple cake, or what can we
Yeah.
call it?
Purple cheek. Yeah, we can say purple cake.
Purple cake. All right. So I'm going to write all the names in Scarlet because I somehow am so stuck on Scarlet for lettering. Plus, we have a letter over here. Again, over here, if you feel the need, please write, draw a line. Should I write purple cake or should I write, would these be
Maybe you can say ube.
desserts?
Ube cake. Yeah, this is dessert.
Okay, so I think I'll write desserts over here because the purple cake is just one part of the desserts. Again, graphic design kicking in. And to differentiate, I can write ube, no, ube.
Ube.
I can write that over here. So ube. Purple cake. I'm going to write it both. Okay, here I wanted to show you something. I will have a little space, but I have a feeling my word cake is going to go into very close to the edge. And I personally don't like that. So I'm going to turn this on its side and write the word cake upright as if it's turning the corner. So that I don't have to worry about the words going beyond. Then I can write dirty ice cream here. And I can write, what is this called? 1 minute. Oh, I'm going to remember it. Hello, hello.
Yes.
Now, although my paper over here is compromised because of this tear, watercolor can work very well in these situations. Sometimes, or any paint, it can go over all sorts of textures pretty well. So, oh, again, no space for ice cream. You can bring together, or instead of hiding this part, you can make it part of the design deliberately. I am going to write ice cream below this. Hollow, hollow. Good. What a cute page. I'm loving this. So among other things that you can do in this, apart from the fact that, of course, you can write the dessert parts, if you feel that you want to make this page even more, filling it up a little more, you can choose to write a little narrative in this space as well. Just in the part where you see the card, align the top of this brown paper to that text block. And maybe write on that. And the text you write, if you can keep it really close, then it becomes like an extension of the brown part. Or you can also paint this in like a blue colored wash or something, and then write on top of it, or just leave it. I'm thinking, let's make that wash. I think that's because I have a lot of blue. But let me make it first, and then you can choose to make it if you want to. I'm going to use my washi tape, paper tape. Okay, let me try making the top first. So because it's a wash and I'm tilting my paper, this time I'm going to tilt the paper upside down, or the book. That's because I want more control on the cart part of the illustration. Don't make this yet. Let me make it first. If it looks horrible, then please learn from my mistake. Okay, we won't know till it dries and I can pull out the paper tape.
But I think it'll look good.
I think so too. I think it should.
Yeah, because your cerulean blue anyway looks good in all the paintings.
Yeah. I'm just so biased towards that cerulean blue.
The latest one is scarlet now after cerulean blue.
True. But I've always enjoyed scarlet. The
Yeah.
cerulean blue was something that I was never happy with. I was more in the cobalt blue camp. Okay, if this works. I should make it on the other side as well. So one thing to remember is when you are doing this and extending a line like how I've done, make sure that the alignment remains. So either use a large bit of paper tape, or then just use a scale or something, or a sheet of paper to make sure that the edge continues. Even if it is not exactly straight, at least it should not be totally off. Now I will paint this right side up. But first, all the large portions, and then inside the spokes, not all at the same time. While this is drying, paint within the spokes. Now I can also paint on this side so that that line that I had extended can be slightly camouflaged. Wonderful. Yeah, I think it looks nice. Very graphic, but it's nice. Okay, so that's it.
This was fun.
Yeah, it's just really nice. And somehow this didn't seem like such a long time. It seemed like we did it really fast, but we took full 2 hours to do it.
Aditi, do put up the picture also with the video, na? Because lot
Yeah.
of times, one cannot follow intricate details on the video.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, now that I've finished it, I can put it right away.
Yeah, yeah. that'll
Earlier
be good.
ones, I usually wait to write something and then
Yeah,
final, but I can do both. I can put it
sure.
at the stage we are at the end of the session, and then I can also put another one if I finish.
Yeah.
I think when
Okay.
you upload the video, na, so we see the full picture and it looks really good, but then you don't have that picture.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so now what is remaining? We did an animal, we did architecture, we did food. Do we have any special artifacts in the Philippines?
I'm not
Is
sure.
there something related to the Spanish history? Actually, that's done in the building, so we don't need that.
I'll send you photographs of a trivet that I bought from there so many years ago.
Oh, okay,
Let me just show it to you, in fact, right away.
okay.
Because that's very, I think a lot of stuff that you get in Bangkok is very
Huh?
similar. If
Okay.
you can see this, can you?
Yes, yeah. What is it made from?
It is some kind of, see, the sides are cane.
Hmm.
The center looks like raisin kind of a thing. I can't make out actually.
Ah, okay, okay.
Shells? Is it shells?
No, it's not shells. But it's, I'll tell you what, it's got cane kind of thing inside. Those specks are a little bit cane type.
Ah, okay. So maybe it is resin and then they put holes on the sides
Yeah,
and through which
yeah,
then they have crocheted this outline cane.
yeah.
Do they have a lot of cane there? Because then we could do baskets or something.
I'm
Yeah.
sure they have because, the artifacts are very similar to Indonesia, Bangkok, I mean, Thailand. All these areas have a lot of handwork. In fact, even last year when I had gone to Cambodia, what beautiful baskets. I couldn't carry them back with me. I was so disappointed. But again, over there in Cambodia, also very pretty baskets. Very, very, and so cheap.
Hmm.
So cheap. I mean, because labor over there is very cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Yes.
see this?
Yes.
This
Huh.
is palm. Palm.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And this is a soap dish. So what happens? It doesn't get spoiled.
Right, right.
I got yeah, forks and spoons and all that.
So do they make a material out of it, like compressing all the palm together or something like that?
Sorry, palm or coconut? Coconut.
Could be coconut
Coconut.
also.
Yeah, coconut. And if you want to see the weaving, just see this.
Oh, wow. This
And
will be
so
fun.
intricate
Yeah,
and very, very
very
cheap,
precise.
but very cheap. But, and can you see this? They
Yeah.
give their eggs in that.
Oh my God, that is so
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. So I got these because they were lying as empty things in my nephew's house. And then also they gave a lot of, spices in these.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
So I have seen packaged spices in the palm leaf boxes or baskets or little pouches made from that. That is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. But a lot of handwork in this area. Lot of handwork, and it's cheap labor.
So let's look for some kind of artifacts like baskets or things, old traditional artifacts.
Yeah.
Let's try making that.
I
Yeah. Because
recall I sent before there was this native abaca bag. So they use some SI like palm, they have some leaves. So they use them. वो हाथ से ही they make these bags because I got those bags. So उसपे बहुत सुंदर से they will put those ribbons and all.
Uh-huh.
And then some beads, kind of work, and then but it's all handmade and it's very beautiful.
Okay, so abaca is the name of some plant, is it?
Yeah, some plant.
Okay, let me see. Abaca.
I think it's very similar to the water hyacinth.
Yeah,
You know,
something like that.
yeah, water hyacinth leaves are used to make bags.
No, it's like banana.
Yeah, but water hyacinth is also, uske leaves also are very similar.
Acha, okay.
Yeah.
This looks very interesting. Abaca plant baskets. Oh, lovely. Chalo, we've got our next topic. So we got at least some baskets. If there's anything else that you can find, metalwork or anything else that you can think of, we can make those.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I will see you next Saturday. Huh? No change in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye. Thanks. Aditi.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you.